The Chinese announced last weekend they were widening the band within which the RMB can move, and I'm wondering whether and to what extent that addresses longstanding U.S. concerns about the value of the yuan and the way in which it's allowed to trade. And then more generally, there's a growing discussion about whether the Chinese economy is slowing. It seems to be, for looking at the latest figures. And so if it's slowing, whether it's heading for what we'd call a soft landing, a soft decline, or whether there are concerns that your analysts have, that you have, that there could be somewhat more trouble ahead for the Chinese economy.
Good question. I think the cumulative effect of what China's done on the exchange rate side on the external side is very significant and very promising. So let's just review what they've done. They've allowed the renminbi to appreciate against the dollar in real terms by about 14% since June of 2010. If you look back relative to 2005, it's more like 45%. Pretty significant adjustment in real terms. They have begun to significantly loosen the comprehensive set of controls they have in place on capital movements and the ability of people to use the renminbi, borrow and lend in renminbi. They have widened the band to allow the market forces to play a greater role in setting the exchange rate. They have been, at least over the last 6 months or so, intervening significantly less. Their current account surplus has come down dramatically, and the expected surplus going forward has come down really quite significantly too. So those are important and promising, and I think they signal a continued commitment by the Chinese authorities, even though they're going through this political transition, to this broad change in growth strategy towards a growth strategy less dependent on external demand, more reliant on the market, more focused on domestic demand, and that's encouraging. Obviously, they got a long way to go in that process, including on the exchange rate, not at the end of that process. On the growth front, it's a good question, and I don't claim to have any particular feel for it right now. I think that it's absolutely true that growth has slowed, particularly in the early parts of the first quarter. But I think most people who look at China and most people in China with a feel for this are really quite confident that you're going to see this economy growing, in the range of 7 to 8.5, 9% over the medium term. And I think that's a realistic forecast as long as Europe is still making some progress in working through its crisis.